Hello everybody, welcome to Western Life Stories. This documentary explores the real reasons behind World War I, breaking down the alliances, secret rivalries, military buildup, nationalism, and political assassinations that pushed Europe into its deadliest conflict. Told in simple language with cinematic visuals, this fully video answers, why did World War I truly happen? In simple and interesting way. In 1914, Europe appeared calm and stable. People were trading, traveling, and enjoying modern life. Powerful empires like Britain, Germany, Austria-Hungary, Russia, and France ruled vast territories. On the surface, there was peace, but underneath, tension was growing fast. These empires were competing for power, colonies, and influence. Nations were building huge armies and navies, each afraid the others might attack first. National pride and rivalry were at their peak. Most leaders believed that even if war happened, it would be short and controlled, but they were dangerously woe. In June 1914, in a small Balkan city called Sarajevo, a young man fired a single bullet. That bullet killed Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary. What seemed like a local assassination triggered alliance obligations, ultimatums, and mobilizations. Within weeks, Europe was at war. That one bullet didn't cause World War I by itself, but it ignited a continent already soaked in fuel. And once the fire started, it changed the world forever. We will discuss all topic chapter-wise, so it's easy to understand. Chapter 1. Europe before the war. Before World War I, Europe was a fragile continent. 5 major empires ruled, which is Germany, Britain, France, Russia, and Austria-Hungary. Each empire wanted more land, more power, and more respect. This competition created distrust, and distrust created tension. Europe growing richer and more powerful, but also more competitive. Small conflicts could easily turn big because alliances connected every empires. Chapter 2. Alliances. Europe split into 2 sides. By the early 1900s, Europe was divided into 2 powerful alliance groups. These alliances were created to protect nations and prevent war. Leaders believed that if countries stood together, no one would dare to attack. But instead of keeping peace, these alliances made war more dangerous. They turned Europe into a tight web of promises. If one country was attacked, its allies were forced to fight, even if they didn't want to. What was meant to provide security became a deadly trap. First alliance between Britain, France, and Russia. These countries shared a common fear of Germany's growing power. Though not a single formal treaty at first, they agreed to support each other if war broke out. Britain had the world's strongest navy. France wanted protection from German aggression. And Russia supported Slavic nations in Eastern Europe. Together, they formed a powerful counterweight to Germany and its allies. Another alliance was Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy. Germany wanted strong allies to avoid being surrounded by enemies. Germany promised military support. Austria-Hungary needed help to control unrest in the Balkans. Italy joined for protection, but had weak loyalty. When war began in 1914, Italy refused to fight, and later joined the opposite side, proving how fragile alliances could be. Because of these two alliances, any small conflict could trigger a massive war. Once one nation mobilized, its allies' nation must follow. In 1914, Austria-Hungary attacked Serbia. Then Russia defended Serbia. Germany backed Austria-Hungary. France and Britain defended Russia. Within weeks, almost all of Europe was at war. Chapter 3. Militarism. The arms race. By the early 1900s, Europe was building weapons faster than ever before. Nations believed that military strength meant safety. But as each country armed itself, others grew afraid. This arms race didn't create peace. It created suspicion, tension, and a constant fear of attack. Another race was between Britain and Germany, which was naval arms race. Britain ruled the seas with the world's strongest navy. But Germany wanted equal power. When Britain launched a revolutionary battleship, the Dreadnought, Germany responded immediately. Soon both nations raced to build bigger, faster, deadlier warships. All countries in Europe built and growing armies blindly. Millions of young men were trained and armed. New weapons, machine guns, long-range artillery, and modern rifles made armies deadlier than ever. Yet no one fully understood how destructive these weapons would be. They were ready for war. Once started, then no time to stop it. Military leaders believed that speed meant victory. Germany and France created war plans that demanded instant mobilization. Once troops began moving, stopping them was nearly impossible. Diplomacy had no time to work. War plans controlled decisions. Militarism turned Europe into a loaded weapon. The armies were trained, the ships were ready, and different plans were written. All Europe needed was a spark. Chapter 4. Nationalism. Pride that turned dangerous. Nationalism filled people with pride in their country and culture. Every nation believed it was destined for greatness. But this powerful belief also created intolerance, aggression, and hatred. When pride became extreme, compromise disappeared, and Europe moved closer to war. Now, short information about German ambition, rise of a new power. In 1871, Germany unified into a single powerful nation. Almost overnight, it transformed Europe's balance of power. Germany's factories multiplied, its army expanded, and its economy surged forward. Soon, Germany wanted what older empires already had: colonies, respect, and global influence. France never forgot its defeat by Germany in 1871. The loss of Alsace-Lorraine became a national wound. For decades, French children were taught that this land must one day be returned. Revenge became part of French identity. In the Balkans, nationalism burned the hottest. Slavic peoples, especially Serbs, wanted freedom from the Austro-Hungarian Empire. They dreamed of creating a single Slavic nation. To Austria-Hungary, this dream was a threat to its survival. Nationalism turned neighbors into enemies. Pride became hatred. Dreams of greatness became plans for war. And in the Balkans, one spark was all it would take. Chapter 5. The Spark. Assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. On June 28, 1914, in the Balkan city of Sarajevo, a single event lit the fuse of World War I. what seemed like a local assassination would trigger a chain reaction across Europe. One man, one city, one moment changed history forever. Here is the reason and spark before World War I. Who was Archduke Franz Ferdinand? Archduke Franz Ferdinand was the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne. He represented imperial authority in a region filled with nationalist anger. To many Slavs in the Balkans, he was a symbol of foreign The Archduke arrived in Sarajevo to inspect troops. His visit took place on June 28th, a sacred date for Serbian nationalists. His motorcade route was public, and security was dangerously light. Behind the plot was a secret Serbian nationalist network known as the Black Hand. Their goal was simple but dangerous: free Slavic lands from Austro-Hungarian rule, no matter the cost. The first assassination attempt failed, but fate intervened. Later that day, the Archduke's car took a wrong turn and stopped directly in front of Gavrilo Princip, a 19-year-old Serbian nationalist. Those two shots echoed far beyond Sarajevo. They set off ultimatums, mobilizations, and declarations of war. What began as a local assassination became a global catastrophe. Chapter 6: The Domino Effect. How one death caused a world war. After the assassination, Europe fell into a chain reaction. Each country followed its alliance obligations, pushing the continent into war. First is Austria issues an ultimatum to Serbia. After the assassination in Sarajevo, Austria-Hungary blamed Serbia. It sent an ultimatum, a list of harsh demands designed to be rejected. Accepting them fully would have meant giving up Serbian independence. After that, Russia supports Serbia. Russia saw itself as the protector of Slavic nations. When Serbia was threatened, Russia chose to act. It began mobilizing its massive army, a move that alarmed all of Europe. Third is Germany declares war against Russia. Germany, allied with Austria-Hungary, saw Russian mobilization as an act of war. It declared war on Russia, then on France, believing speed was the key to victory. And the final trigger: Britain enters into the war. Germany's plan required invading Belgium, a neutral country protected by Britain. When German troops crossed that border, Britain had no choice. The war was no longer European, it was global. In just weeks, alliances turned a single assassination into a world war. Diplomacy collapsed, armies marched, and the world stepped into darkness. So why did World War I really happen? It wasn't just the assassination. It was years of tension, rivalry, fear, and pride. Europe had built a system so fragile that one spark could destroy everything. And in 1914, it did. Millions died, empires collapsed, and the world was forever changed. This was not just a war of guns, but a war born from human ambition. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this documentary and want more deep historical stories, subscribe to Western Life Stories. Like, share, and comment your favorite part. See you in next topic.